Okay, let's get ready for fall semester. Sorry if you're hoping I was doing a makeup tutorial or something. I'm not. This is just how I prepare for the semester. So first we're going to go out to the Mitchell Hamlin website and you can log into your Canvas page here. If you click on the top where it says login and then you can go to Canvas. You should have these credentials relatively soon if you don't have them already. And this is going to kind of be your launching place for where all of your assignments and things will be. So you go to login and you'll have this dashboard is what they call it. And here's where all of your classes will be that are active. You can change which ones are active and the different colors and things in various ways. First things first, we're going to set up constitutional powers. So I'm going to choose red for that color. And I try to kind of color coordinate my folders and things by class. And so I'm choosing red. It'll actually, when it refreshes, it'll be red instead of that gray color. First things first, we're going to go to the syllabus page. This is where you're going to see kind of what the course is going to be about, your teachers, any adjunct professors. You'll see here that there's a downloadable PDF. So right before I do this, I would go in and I would create a folder for this particular course in my OneDrive. So I'm going to create a new folder and call it Constitutional Powers. And now I've got a folder that I can save things to. And once we get started, I'll actually create weekly folders for each week of the course and save things that way just to keep it organized. So we'll see here on the syllabus, here's kind of the professor, their info, and then looks like I'm saving the syllabus to the folder, so I've got it. It'll also go through the course overview and then kind of the competencies, which is kind of what you'll go through throughout the semester. Any required texts, some standard policies, etc., etc. Riveting material, but I will use this section of it to kind of create a little bit of a where are we going with this particular course for the semester. So I'm going to say copy and put this into my OneNote at some point. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open OneNote, and I'm going to create a new notebook for constitutional powers. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take the template and all those weekly sections and copy those over to the new notebook. Like I said, I'm going to do red for constitutional powers, so I'm going to create a folder or a notebook with a red cover. And once that's created, it's going to have just the one section, so I'm going to copy sections from the template over. And how you do that, you can right click or you can do it up at the top as well. You can do what's called, you can just copy them, copy section 2, and then one by one you can do that and copy those sections to constitutional powers, your new notebook that you set up. For you, it'll probably be other courses, especially if this is your 1L year in the blended program. It'll probably be towards criminal law, legal methods, and LARC. So I would have a different notebook for each of those. And one by one, you just copy those sections. This is exciting stuff, I know, but it'll in the end be better because I found that having this stuff set up beforehand makes it a lot easier for me to just plug it in when things get crazy in the middle of the semester. So if you've already got your week set up for, week 3, and, you're going to be able to just copy stuff in there, use it right away instead of having to create this every week after week after week. And eventually what we'll do also is we'll also change these in our different notebooks so that they have the date on them so that we know what the date frame for that particular week is going to be, which in the blended program is very helpful because there are certain things due by certain days. And sometimes I found that I would get kind of confused on which week I'm on until I figured out the system and got into a rhythm. So I think if I had put the dates on the weeks previously, I would have been a little better off that way. And again, it goes back to find a system that works for you, that makes sense for you, and then just keep using that system. Okay. All right, so going in, I'm going to take out this first section because it's just a blank page, and I'm going to go right into the ones that I copied over from the template. So in the first one, the course section, the syllabus, I'm going to go back to that that PDF that we looked at on Canvas. And if we open that up, or take some of the information here from the course syllabus, what I'll do is I'll just grab some of that information and then get that saved over into my notebook. Sometimes when you highlight over things that have a little box next to them, that usually means it's going to open in another page, and it makes it really funky. So I typically try to avoid copying those just so that it transfers a little nicer. So as you can see here, I didn't do that, and so I'm going to actually go ahead and unhighlight and just copy the stuff that doesn't have that open in other folder or open in under other window, and then I can kind of go from there for my syllabus. And like I mentioned, the next section that I'm going to kind of look at is this course competencies. I'm going to stick those in the syllabus, just so that I kind of have an idea of like kind of where the course is going. It's always good to kind of be familiar here with what's kind of expected of you, and then kind of what you're going to be learning, because it gives you a bit of a roadmap to where you're going and what you're going to be doing for the semester. I personally like to kind of make some headings and that kind of thing to just delineate the different sections of information. And that's another tip, I guess, is learning how to use styles in various Microsoft products. It's helpful in a lot of ways. In particular in Word, it's easy to make kind of chapters and things like that in the navigation pane for studying and notes and things. So, but that's a different video for a different day. Yeah, I'm just kind of breaking up the different sections for what we're going to be learning in this particular course. Like I said, again, this just kind of helps me know where we're at in the roadmap throughout the semester and where we're going. So, all right, for calendar, sometimes you could put like an actual calendar in there. What I'm actually going to put in there is this section here, which basically shows all of the different assignments that are going to be due and when they're due. There may be other assignments as well. So, I mean, this isn't going to be the end all, but this will give me a good start for what kind of assignments are due and their due dates. As you can see, a lot of stuff is due on Wednesdays and Saturdays in the blended program. Especially if you have discussion boards. Usually the discussion board post is due on Wednesday. Responses to other people's posts are due Friday. And that's all stuff that you would upload to Canvas. So now you can see we can kind of go through his information. Here's the adjunct professors. Adjunct professors are typically going to be the ones that actually interact with you on posts and grading rubrics and that kind of thing. So you'll get to know them and their styles a little bit better too. So here we are in week 1. You'll notice there wasn't a week 0 for this particular course. So I'm just going to go right into week 1 and go into the weekly assignments. And here I'm putting on my to-do. This is something that's going to be due week 1 of classes, which starts on in this particular year, the 14th of August. As you can see, there are 2 different things that they want us to do and be ready with for week 1. But there doesn't seem to be any other type of work to complete necessarily. Here are the 2 reading assignments. And I'm just going to go ahead and open these up in another tab and then save those PDFs to the folder. And then I'll actually get those stuck. I'll stick those into my OneNote when I get to that section. So here, go ahead and print the page to PDF. And because we already set it up, we already know where to go because we've got a folder for constitutional powers. So we can go ahead and just save it. And here I'm going to make a week 1 folder. And create, and then, like I said, that just helps me keep things organized. Because eventually you get a lot of stuff downloaded and saved to a folder. So it helps if you've got some organization. Other people do not do week by week, and that is totally fine as well. Because at the end of the day, or at the end of the semester, really, I should say, you're eventually going to need to know where all that information is so that you can study. And, throughout the semester as you're putting together an outline, sometimes it doesn't always need to be separated by week, but maybe makes more sense to separate by subject or topic or whatever. But so what I'm doing here is I'm putting that web page that I saved as a PDF, I'm taking that and I'm putting it right into my OneNote so that as I'm doing my homework this week, I can go in here and I could just work right off of it right here in OneNote. So I created a tab called Reading Constitution since we have 2 reading assignments this week. And now I'll be able to go in there and highlight and circle, and I can write notes to the side and all of that on my iPad with my Apple Pencil. So that's ready to go. And I'm going to add another page here for that second reading, which is chapters 1 and 2 of the book or the text that this professor is assigned for the week. Again, I find it very helpful to be able to do this and just have it all available. I use my iPad a lot for studying because it's easy to carry around and it's a little bit lighter than bringing my laptop around, and I can do stuff on the bus and whatever. So it helps a lot to have it all just kind of in one spot. Okay, so those are the readings for the week. If we hit next, we see there's a thing for office hours. Typically, office hours will be posted there, as well as in the Zoom link on the left side there after they have been recorded. People will say you don't have to go to office hours, so I personally find office hours to be really helpful, and I think it helps a lot to be there and just like interact with the professor and your fellow students, especially in the blended program, because that's really the only interaction really that you get unless you're part of a study group, and then of course in any sort of discussion boards and things like that you might also interact, but for the most part office hours is kind of where you're going to get that interaction. And I personally really try to be there for office hours live. Usually they're in the evenings, but if you can't for whatever reason, they do record them and they will be posted in that section. So that's week 1 for constitutional powers. And like I said, here I am. I'm going to go ahead and add the dates for that week so that I kind of know where we're at. And then I'll do that for the remainder of these weeks as well. And then for each course after this that I'm setting up, I will do the same thing. I would set up a folder in my OneDrive. I would set up a notebook, and I would add the weeks, and then I would start adding in weekly assignments. And typically what I would do each week is what I just did, which is go out to Canvas, see what the assignments are for the week, put them into weekly assignments, reading, etc. And then I would kind of know what I'm looking forward to for that week for workload. And then typically what would happen then is I try to do that. I try to plan out a week ahead. So if the week is the 14th through the 20th, I would try to plan by the Tuesday prior, because then that would give me time to actually get stuff in order and know what I'm doing. So after that, as you can see here, I'm going into my Outlook and I am going to create a folder. You get a lot of emails, whether it's submissions from Canvas, from the teacher, from study group, for each of the courses. So what I'm doing is go in and make a folder. Usually I label it FA22, for example, for fall 22, and then the course name, Constitutional Powers. And then whenever I get emails or anything for this class, I can just drag them in there and it's ready to go. And then when I need to find it later, I know where to go. And that's about it. That's how I get ready for the fall.